Today my video journal is a response to The Egg by Andy Weir. And I've got to say, this was the one journal I didn't really know how to begin because I thought that it would really suck since I agreed with pretty much everything it said. So I thought that I wouldn't really have something good to talk about or a good point of comparison or something to debate or something different than just agreeing. But that's what I'll do because I simply just agree with pretty much everything. So first of all, I will say my reaction to the story, which was amazement because I felt as if it was written exactly for me because my philosophical views were written right there, except for the fact that I do not believe we reincarnate in every single human being. So I do not agree with the fact that we're all one same person. So right from the start, when the man dies and he goes up to heaven, which is heaven because there's not an exact name for it, and he meets God, I agree with the fact that God will not have a specific shape or form because to me God is a concept, and maybe in his universe or in his kingdom he will have a physical shape or a physical form, but because I do not think of him as a physical form and I see him as a concept, I do not think he has a pre-established look, so we cannot know beforehand how God looks. After that, God begins explaining to the man that his soul is more beautiful, magnificent, and big than he can ever imagine. And I totally agree with this because once God begins telling him, your human body only lasted 48 years of knowing itself, I think that this part refers to the fact that our human life, or the time we live on this earth, is just a bit of a fraction of what our soul really is, and there's a lot behind that we will never know because, as the story pointed out, we live a certain limited time on this physical earth and in this physical body, and then we die and we go up there to meet God and to reincarnate again and to live some more years. The process will repeat itself a countless number of times until God thinks that we're done and we reach our full potential as souls, and that we're so clean and so pure in a soul state that we can go back to Him and go back to heaven, to true heaven, where there's all the happy souls that have transcended in life. But until you've gotten to that perfect state of pureness and when there's nothing left for your soul to learn, you've got to reincarnate again and again on this human earth until you learn every single lesson that will get you to there. So when the story said your human body lasts 48 years of knowing itself, but it only reached a tiny bit of what you truly are, is what I think that happens with us, because we live certain time on this earth, but there's other lives that we don't know or we don't remember about. Only when we are up there with God, we remember, oh, I was this person, or oh, I was this. But God won't let us remember that when we're here for specific reasons. So we can learn by ourselves when we're here and get the lessons that we need to learn so we can transcend to a perfect pure state and go back to Him. So going further into my reincarnation concept, which I didn't just made up or came up with it from the day to the morning, it was a recompilation of Jewish thoughts, of some Muslim thoughts, and of some Hinduism thoughts, plus the religion I was raised in, which is Roman Catholicism. So going back to my views on reincarnation, which is what I do believe will happen to me, I believe that God has like this bag of souls, which are new souls that do not have any experience, of course, and they've got to learn everything. So the new soul will arrive to earth with at least one life and will make mistakes, will make things that will make him learn lessons, and if in that time the soul didn't learn what it was meant to learn, well, it's okay, it will die and then it will go back again and go down again until it gets it done. And once it gets it done, the soul is in its purest state and go back to God, to the bag of souls, which is heaven, true heaven. The only thing I didn't agree with the story, and I find particularly cruel, is the fact that you can never stop reincarnating. I remember one time when I was speaking with a friend and he told me, what do you think happens after death? And I told him, well, it depends. It depends on the fact that if in this life you made your life mission, or if not, because if you did, well, it's okay, you will go back to God and rest. But if you didn't, you will come back again because it will be God's second chance or third or fourth, I don't know, chance to give you the possibility to learn those things. And he said, well, don't you think God could only be messing up with us and making us go back and back and back and back and never stopping? And I said, that would be so cruel. And he agreed. And he said, well, God can be cruel, but I do not think that God would do that to us, because making us reincarnate a countless infinite number of times just because would be the meanest and cruelest thing a superior being could do to us, because it would be, like my friend said, messing up with us just because, like if we were a game. And I think God is so beautiful and such a pure being of love that he would never do that to us, because he loves us that much. So I think that he loves us so much, he gives us infinite chances to learn what we have to learn, but it's up to us to learn it, and once we learn it, we're done. Therefore, the fact that the story says that we reincarnate hundreds of times just because, like, to live all the experiences and all the human persons that we can ever be in history, I think that's false, because doing so, as I mentioned, would be a very cruel action from God to us. So finally, as an overall comment, I would like to say I really like the story because it made me think on my philosophical views.